So, you think Trump is going to end the war and then the war economy ends, right? What if insecurity is actually the new normal? In this episode, we're going to expose the myths of the temporary war economy. And we're going to show why military-driven research is here to stay. And how you can win in a world that's not going to disarm anytime soon. Okay, I know, investing in guns is kind of a stupid thing to do, stupid investment, but it's here to stay. Plus, in this episode, we also have a conversation with Spiros Chioteris from Greece. This week we have a consultant, and he's gonna tell us a lot about Interreg projects, for instance. A good conversation. And then we analyze an open call, a serve call, that could turn your civic ideas into European actions. That's what we need, actions. Let's go.
Today we're talking about a very real and, let's face it, sometimes uncomfortable topic, the war economy. Should you invest in research that supports military objectives? Or is peace around the corner making that entire investment pointless? The mainstream narrative we so often hear is, Trump will end the war in Ukraine, peace returns, and war-related bubble bursts. In other words, everyone says it's just a temporary spike. So maybe you're worried about wasting money or effort if you invest in war economy R&D. After all, if the war ends, your big defense or security-focused project might suddenly lose relevance. But here's the twist. Even if and when this specific conflict ends, the new global order is made of insecurity. We see it in every region. Political tensions, resource struggles, and security threats that keep governments on edge. Most non-European nations adopt an imperialistic narrative, expand territories, close borders with tariffs and walls, and rewriting history, just like European nations did in the 19th century. The irony? That means nations will likely go on channeling massive resources into defense, cybersecurity, and advanced tech, far beyond this war. So what? Let's look at the long game here. Identify the long-term shifts. Rather than focusing solely on short-term war demands, look at how defense priorities are evolving. We're talking about cybersecurity, AI-driven surveillance, unmanned systems, and resilience building. If you channel your R&D into these areas, you're not betting on a single conflict. You're positioning yourself for an era where ongoing security concerns define global spending. Focus on dual-use innovations. Dual use means your research can serve both defense and civilian markets. For example, if you develop advanced data analytics or drone technology that originally targets security needs, you can also pivot those breakthroughs for commercial applications, healthcare, logistics, smart cities, and beyond. That way, if the war economy changes tomorrow, your R&D investment still has legs in other high-growth sectors. Avoid the binary trap. People often see it as either we're at war, invest in the war machine, or we're at peace, let's harvest the peace dividend. But that black and white thinking can undermine you. In reality, Europe already recognizes we're not at war, but we're not at peace either. Realistically, you should be shifting your research toward broader definitions of security. If your research roadmap is agile, you can adapt to these shifts instead of being caught off guard. Aim for impact and ethics. Let's not gloss over the ethical dimension. Working in defense R&D can raise moral questions, but if you guide your projects toward protective or preventative measures, like technologies that reduce collateral damage or strengthen civilian infrastructure, you can stand out as a contributor to a safer world, even if global spending is channeled through the defense sector. Position yourself against the temporary war economy narrative. The typical narrative says, once peace arrives, defense budgets drop and resources shift back to civilian priorities. You're taking the stance that ongoing insecurity will define future spending. By challenging the mainstream assumption, you encourage your peers, partners, or funders to adopt a broader view. The fact that security R&D will continue, potentially integrated into next-gen technologies for everyday life. If you're deciding whether or not to invest in what some are calling the war economy, keep these points in mind. Yes, the conflict we see right now may de-escalate, but a new era of global insecurity means defense priorities will continue to shape economies, almost certainly with advanced R&D at the center. The opportunity? Focus your research on broader security and resilience, on dual-use innovations, and on ways to create a lasting, positive impact, even if the war itself ends. In a rapidly shifting security climate, the winners will be those who anticipate and adapt to the next wave of demand. Don't get stuck thinking war-driven funding is a one-time anomaly. In today's world, insecurity looks like it's here to stay.
Okay, welcome back to InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles. Thank you for this interview, Spiros. Welcome, first of all, and thank you for being here. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself, starting with your name, which
My name is
Spiros.
My name is Spiros Chioteris. I come from Greece, Thessaloniki, and I studied in England at the beginning at Essex University, accounting and financial management. So basically, my background is finance, and then I had an MBA in Cardiff, in the Cardiff Business School, again in MBA in finance. So my academic background is basically in finance, and that's how I entered into this sector of consulting.
In the days that UK was part of the EU, so you...
Yes, many years ago.
Yeah. Did you start working with EU projects in UK or when you got back to Greece?
No. When I came back to Greece, I worked in the industry as a financial controller. Then I moved into the stock exchange for about 10 years. I was a broker. And after that, I decided to step into this consulting sector through a specific procurement that I found in a newspaper regarding financial tools and how small or medium enterprises could get financed through new innovative financial tools.
Okay, so that's how you entered this world. There are many consultants working in this area of the EU-funded projects, some in different areas, some in the communication area, some in the financial area, writing proposals. So there are a lot of different agents. How do you characterize your history? What did you do? What was your role?
20 years ago, there weren't so many. There were a lot, but not so many as they are probably now, and with not so many sectors as we have now, because everything has changed and we've moved forward. Back at that time, I found this procurement in the newspaper, not anywhere else, asking for a consultant who could develop and assist a specific European project, which was an Interreg 3C project. I do remember the name as well, it was Modele. And they were asking for 3 experts, and I would be one of them, that could provide their knowledge in financial instruments and issues regarding SMEs. So I said, I have all the background, I have academic, I have working experience, I have everything. I had nothing to do with consulting at that moment. So I entered into this call, and I was qualified, and I was happy to be there. It was for 3 years. It was an excellent experience. I met so many people from all around Europe, and that was the beginning. After that, I kept on trying to participate in several projects, again by myself as a person, not as a subcontractor. But as a person, not as a company, I mean. And in parallel, I decided to establish my company, HELLENIC Consulting, which is next year is going to be the 20th year of existence. And now it all started to be developed. I started at the beginning, as I told you, as a person, and then I decided to...
So you started with an Interreg project. What
Yes.
other programs? What other kind of projects have you done in these
Basically,
years?
at the beginning, all my projects were Interreg, either cross-border cooperation or transnational cooperation, meaning Interreg Europe, Interreg Med, Greece, Albania, Greece, Bulgaria, all these cross-border programs that exist. And the way it is happening, because you cannot participate, as you know, as a final beneficiary if you are a profit-making company, you have to become a subcontractor of a non-profit company who has successfully participated in a consortium. And that's how it all happened. I decided to try to look into procurements every year and try to participate in as many as possible projects, dealing at the beginning with finance. And then I started getting to other sectors as well, like environment, like entrepreneurship, like innovation. And this is increasing all the time, the sectors that we are tackling.
Yeah, I remember we met in a project that was about the blue economy, mostly about the blue economy.
And the tool there, it was the big issue. The tool that you could get this coupon amount, a specific amount of money, and that you could provide that to a knowledge provider, and the knowledge provider is going to provide his knowledge to an SME. And it's something like a financial tool. All national programs throughout the years have shown experiences in coupons. I believe maybe in all countries or from Europe, but it was again a financial tool, let's say, somehow.
Yeah, in that case, it was clearly a financial tool to finance innovation, to help companies get support from international knowledge providers using that specific financial tool. But
I think the connection was a little bit unstable, but if you ask me something, could you please repeat it? Because
yes, I was gonna ask you, can you choose a project, your favorite, that is your favorite? After all these years, all the projects you've done, is there one that really somehow left a mark?
I will start with my first project, the one that I described a bit earlier, because it was the first time, and it was really, the experience was excellent. You started knowing people, you started getting to know things that were happening in Europe, and I was not aware here in Greece. Then this is the first one, but my heart belongs to that because it was the beginning. To be honest, the project we were discussing together and we implemented together for Helix, it was again an excellent project because there were so many countries participating, and so many knowledge providers were providing their knowledge to different SMEs in different countries, which shows exactly what these projects, European projects, are made for. Cross-national knowledge. It was excellent, and the tool was nice, and the people that I met there. So, to be honest, yes, these two projects. And Blue Boost, the other one that was on the same period. But let's stick on for Helix and the model at the beginning. And these were the reasons. They were very, and I believe that they had an impact, which is very important for the European projects, especially for Helix, had this impact.
If you remember, for Alex supported 48 projects all across Europe, 48 SMEs, and then we had the pandemic. Right.
Exactly.
And in the end of the project, 47 were still up working. So it really contributed to the resilience of those SMEs and those startups. You mentioned an interesting point, because actually I never saw a project with so many interactions. You would get people from different sectors. but also from different countries.
Exactly, and they had to work together. We made them work together. We made all these brokerage events, all these boot camps where they were coming and providing their knowledge, and the SME could select them among other providers. And they decided, after working with them, to apply for a specific project, and these projects were evaluated and implemented finally. So this impact that I was talking about is very characteristic for this specific project. That's why it's very important for me to have such kind of projects.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Europe special, in my opinion. But okay, that's my
Exactly.
opinion. You work more in the, is it my impression, or you work more in the implementation phase of the projects and not so much in the writing of proposals? Am I wrong?
Both. No,
You do?
both. You understand that you need to write the proposal at the beginning. Now that we are participating as a full partner in the consortium, we write full proposals. So
Okay.
yes, I am also writing proposals for so many years, and of course implementing the proposals, which is the
So in that
second
case,
phase.
what's your view on the impact that AI has had on this proposal writing phase? How do
To
you
be
see
honest,
that?
yeah, but AI is a new tool. At the beginning, it was not that not it was easy to use, but you need to make a lot of adjustments. This is happening to all this AI world at the moment. You cannot just take something as it is and use it. You need to transform it. You need to make adjustments. You need to read it carefully. You need to know. And one of our new projects that we have just applied in the Erasmus Plus is something called prompt engineering, which is exactly what you just said. What we are saying, we say that we are going, for example, to select 4 sectors: computer science, creative industries, marketing, and general knowledge, and try to use the AI tools, either ChatGPT or any other similar tool, to use it efficiently, meaning you need to write correct questions. At the moment, for example, you don't need to write code in computer science, but you need to know code in order to ask the correct questions to the tool in order to get the correct answer from the tool. The same applies for the same applies for a simple letter writing. The same applies for anything that you might need to use your ChatGPT or similar tool. So the same applies for writing a proposal. Yes, of course you can use it, but you need to make the adjustments. You need to know what you're looking for. You need to know what are the objectives. You need to know what are your outcomes. You need to filter. You need to have it to criticize writing well every time in order to provide to the evaluator what is needed so that you can get the higher grade. The higher grade is possible, because this is the idea, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah, in the end, this introduces a new skill that is going to be very important in the
This is
world.
prompt engineering, and this is what we said that we are going to provide to our youth, because we are applying for youth. We have applied for youth, and we are saying that that's what we are going to assist youth, how to write, how to use this, how to take this skill and use it in their everyday life.
I would say that's clearly an Erasmus project. Yeah, that's what Erasmus
Yes.
is for. But
Yes.
that leads me to ask you a question about the future. What kind of projects do you see yourself doing in the next years?
I believe that AI is going to take a big part in our year implementation projects that are coming. And I also believe that projects dealing with energy, project dealing with management of garbage, projects dealing with the environmental impact that we are facing at the moment, and always innovation and entrepreneurship, because these skills are always needed. I think that let's say, my knowledge, my expertise, apart from that, are leading me towards this direction. Also, this is the direction that Europe is now turning to. Of course, this is something. Of course, this is something very dynamic, as you know. And for example, if you find something, if something happens and that changes, we need to adjust ourselves and change what we say now and move to a different sector, because this is how it goes. If the priorities are changing, we are changing. But if we're talking about what I think and what I see, these sectors are very important, and I believe.
You mentioned an important point, actually, thinking about it. In the past 5 years, we had some major changes, and I would say that this building of the EU projects adapted to those changes. So now we are seeing projects using AI, projects researching for the war economy. We are seeing projects looking after the carbon footprint, and all that changed in the past 5 years.
Projects looking for refugees at this period. The exactly 5 years that you just said. Project searching solutions for all these people. Everything is dynamic. You see something happen somewhere, and this might change the whole priority. This is how it goes.
So you are optimistic about, if I understand your words correctly, you are optimistic about the future of this activity. There's a lot of work to be done in this area of the
there is always a lot of work. There is always many opportunities. There are always many opportunities. However, we need to say that everything is getting more and more competitive. It's not how it was 30 years or 20 years ago. Many more consultants, many more organizations are into the business. A lot of companies are trying to take a small share or a bigger share. So competition is increasing. However, we can see the future, but the competition is increasing. So we need to be more focused, and we need also to be resilient to the changes that are happening.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for this interview. Would you like to have some final message, maybe for newcomers, for the many people who are entering this area? What would your message be?
Yeah, don't lose your interest, whatever is happening. You will see that it's a journey that is taking you from what you are to different aspects all around your environment and your character. And if there is a failure, don't give it up. Keep trying.
Great message, because if there's something that is guaranteed in this world, is that there will be projects that will be a failure. They won't be funded.
Somebody is failing, somebody is succeeding, and then you keep going, keep doing that again and again and again.
Great, I love that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for this period. We'll be back next week with another interview. Thank you, and see you soon. Bye.
See you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Are you passionate about democracy, civic participation, or countering disinformation in Europe? Then the CERV 2025 Citizens CIV Open Call is for you. The European Commission is offering $33 million in funding to support projects that empower citizens, fight fake news, and encourage active engagement in EU policymaking. Whether you're focused on youth engagement, media literacy, or democratic inclusion, you can make an impact. Choose one of 3 priorities for your project. Future of the EU, vision building and policy debates, fighting disinformation, media literacy and resilience, boosting civic participation, turnout and democratic tools. Who can apply? Public universities and non-profit organizations, as led, non-profit public-private bodies or international organizations, partnerships with at least 2 organizations from 2 eligible countries. Activities must be transnational and have a European dimension. Important dates, call opens, 15th January 2025, deadline 29th April 2025 at 17 SAS CET, results in October 2025, project start, end of 2025, early 2026. Funding per project starts at $75,000 with no upper limit. The grant is a lump sum based on events, participants, and countries involved. Want to build a better Europe? One conversation, one initiative at a time? Apply now via the EU Funding and Tenders portal. For more info and templates, visit the official portal. This is your moment to spark dialogue, strengthen democracy, and shape the Europe you believe in.
InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is a weekly video podcast. Please subscribe to Polixox newsletter to receive every podcast episode. And if you like receiving it, please press like in whatever platform you are watching or listening. Also, please share InnovEU and Polixox with anyone you feel will enjoy it. Credits, author and host Fernando C. Gaspar, music Hugo Gaspar, Lisbon, Portugal, 2024. Reach us by email or DM.